But we're going to get into the Chicago Bulls and what happened recently. You know they fired Fred Hoiberg a little over a week ago. And Jim Boylen, who had been an assistant there, also he's a longtime NBA assistant, had been in San Antonio,
go over too well.
Under Greg Popovich and all that. And he's taken over the team. And, you know, Fred Hoiberg's a very laid-back, nice, gentle guy.
You said that like you were friendly with him,
yeah,
right?
he was a nice guy. Really, I mean, you couldn't help but like Fred Hoiberg. But the culture under him, it was just too soft. And that was something that the Bulls wanted to change when they fired Hoiberg. And Jim Boylen came in. He actually used the phrase, Rob, shock and awe, because that's what he wanted to do with his players, is put them in shock and awe. And he began running, but let me just paint the picture. He began running these long, arduous practices, sometimes day after a game.
Which is no-no in the NBA.
And he you know, has been really tough on the players. As far as substitutions, he has substituted the entire starting five and sat them during games when they weren't playing well. And the players basically revolted. They had lost the game by 50-something points.
They were humiliated.
The next day he was going, and he had benched the starters during that game. Next game he was going to have, the rumor was that he was going to have this really hard practice on a Sunday. And the players were actually texting among themselves that maybe they weren't going to show up. They decided to show up, and they had instead of the practice, they had a 2-hour play or a players-only meeting. Didn't last 2 hours, but then they had a meeting with the coach. And so it's just been a mess there. This is arguably one of the worst teams in the league. Not arguably, is one of the worst teams in the league. And what it brought to me, Rob, was players, I think a lot of these players are soft today.
I don't get that.
It's hard to coach them.
I don't get that.
That they can't. I don't think they're used to tough coaching.
No, I just think that there's a way of doing it, and I didn't look at that situation as they don't want to be coached. They're a bad team, and they're just babies. I think what Boylen did in trying to, because he got the job, and you just said it, Fred Hoiberg was a country club. It was easy and all that. That automatically, like, bringing in somebody who's going to do the exact opposite doesn't always work. And I'm not saying that you can't be coached or you can't be criticized. That's not what I'm saying. But I didn't get that from that. I got that they thought that this guy was going over the deep end, trying to make a point, or convinced, I don't know, the bosses to hire him full time, or that he was going to crack the whip. And they pushed back. And I think that that's okay to push back on a coach who's maybe going overboard with trying to make a point. And I think that what the players did, I have no issue with if a guy is going above and beyond.
You have no issue with I mean, it's not like he held a 4-hour practice, 5-hour practice.
But you just said like there was rumors that it was going to be this crazy
hard
practice.
They are 6-22.
I got
They
it.
got the second worst record in the league. Nobody on that roster has accomplished anything in the NBA.
That's fine.
So my point is, if you're a losing team like that, you got to listen. Now, I'll give you this. If the players do have the power, if they don't buy it, if they had not shown up for practice, or if they basically did a mutiny, he would have to eventually get fired. So the players, you're right. Look, a coach, you can come in and be hard-nosed or whatever, but if the players don't receive it and accept it, you're going to get fired.
And you know what? Normally,
because they have the control. But my point is that I don't think these players had the resumes to push back the way they did. Just because he wanted to have a hard practice, you're 6-22. It should be a hard practice.
But that doesn't mean you're going to win anything because the coach makes you practice harder or do sprints.
The way it was working before isn't working, and you do
okay.
need to run sprints to get in shape.
But I'm just saying, that's not automatic.
That was a part of his problem. He said they weren't in shape.
That's like some punishment when you're trying to punish people.
No, how you get in shape, Rob?
No, but I'm just saying, Chris, it's not just, I don't believe that they just decided, oh, this is too hard and we don't want to do this and we're terrible, but we still want to stay terrible. They looked at it as a coach gone run amok, that this guy was going to come in and like punish them for what the failures of Hoiberg and what went on. Yes, it was. That's what it was.
He felt like that's what it would take to get them to win games and make them better. And I think it's a result of the AAU culture, because AAU basketball, I would argue, is more important in terms of kids' futures now than what they do in high school games. I
don't disagree with that. I got it.
You know the AAU culture. You're not getting coached hard in AAU.
I get it.
You can't. If I have an AAU team and I have this superstar that all the colleges want, and I coach him hard, I get on him for not playing defense, I get on him for taking bad shots or whatever, he might just go next door and play for the next team, and then I lost my best player. So they coddle these kids in AAU. They don't coach them hard. And so they are not used to being coached hard. You're 6-22. I get it if what you were doing was working. If you're 18-4, 18-10, and you guys have some playoff experience and somebody comes in there and wants to have harder practices, I get that. But you're 6-22. None of you has done a thing. I love Zach LaVine, Jabari Parker, Lowry Markkanen, but they haven't done anything in the NBA.
Yeah, but,
who are they to tell me I can't hold a long practice?
Well, because that's not what is normally done in the NBA, where he's going above and beyond what most players expect to be done in the NBA. And I think they looked at it where he was just trying to punish them or just to be tough. Like, whenever guys play a phony tough guy role, I'm going to come in here and whip you guys into shape. I think that's where the pushback came in.
You're assuming it's phony. That may be his style of coaching. He was under Popovich. He's been under
what
some
did
coaches
he win?
like that.
What did he win?
Popovich?
No, Boylen.
He's never been a head coach.
All right then,
but he's
been
an assistant coach and won championships.
I got it,
but
he never won anything.
But coaches, the only way a person can coach, they're an authority. The coaches have authority.
I get all that,
and if you don't
Chris,
want to listen to it, then you're never going to be a good team.
But we're in a different world now where
I agree. The AAU world.
It's a different world, and people do have just because somebody's a boss, and there were times when people did stuff when Bobby Knight had
why
wait a minute.
Even bringing Bobby Knight?
Because I want to bring this up. I want to bring it up.
Was this dude throwing chairs?
No, he did.
Was Jim Boylen, grabbing people by the throat? No.
Well, Bobby Knight had a whip.
Let's practice for.
He had a whip at practice saying, "I'm gonna whip you guys in the shade."
That's why that has nothing to do with this conversation, because Jim Boylen wasn't doing that.
But my point is,
of course, Bobby Knight was
saying the same thing. I'm trying to whip these guys into shape and be hard on them. I'm gonna get you guys into shape. Pop the whip. And everybody's like, oh, that's just Bobby Knight. That's how he coaches. That's because this guy can get stuff out of people. All I'm saying is
that has nothing to do with this conversation.
Sometimes you could, as players now, you can push back. This isn't the first time this has happened. Other guys have pushed back and told coaches they're not going to show up. I think they had an incident in Detroit with what was his name? The forward. Oh my God. I'll remember his name, but they had like the same kind of thing where
Who
practice.
Was the coach?
He was the coach. Mike Curry. Mike Curry. You remember that?
Right,
where the same kind of thing happened.
But weren't those veterans?
No, but I'm just saying.
Was that Chauncey?
No, Chauncey was gone.
Who was?
I was trying to think. Maybe Iverson or something.
Right. Yeah. It was.
But it was similar. All I'm saying is that they pushed back on Mike Curry.
Look, you're right. If the coaches can go overboard. But I haven't seen anything to suggest that this guy went overboard. You're 6-22, and they have more talent than that. Lowry Markkanen is a really good player. Zach LaVine is a really good player. They got Justin Holiday. They got some pretty decent talent. And my point is, a coach wanting to have practice, a 2-hour practice the day after a loss, and you got these young kids fresh into the league, haven't won anything, got the second worst record in the league, and they're going to threaten not to go?
Well, you know what? There was pushback in the NFL this year with Matt Patricia with the Lions. He's a first-time head coach. He wanted to practice. They practiced him outside, Chris. Their next 3 games were all indoors.
That was just a couple weeks ago.
That was a couple weeks ago, and the players were like, what is this? Why are we practicing outdoors in the snow. It was in the snow, and they have 3 indoor games where they're not even going to be outside. How does that help you at all? That was like a punishment, and that's why they
sometimes a coach can have a punishment. If the team is playing badly, sometimes there can be punishment.
Coach better.
Win sprints.
Coach better.
He just joined the team. He's trying to coach.
He ain't coaching. That's punishment nonsense. Come up with a better scheme.
Punishment, it can be a part of coaching. We're playing poorly. Get on the line and run some suicide. I get it, they're grown men, and it's a little different. But I'm saying a hard practice, the dude's coaching too hard. He substituted all 5 players.
You're
down 20.
You talking about
practice? Don't get mad at me because I substituted all 5 players.
You're talking about a hard practice?
If you upset, then play better. Your boy Martin in here is with me too.
Martin ain't with me. I'm with you.
He a young millennial too. He don't know.
All these guys got it soft.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but I disagree with the idea that players can't push back.
No, they can push back. I'm just saying in this instance, you got a 6-22 team. You got a bunch of players who haven't done any type of winning in the NBA, and a coach wants to have hard practices. There shouldn't be pushback on that.
Yeah, but I think
a coach is substituting 5 players at a time. It's because you're not running the game plan and you're down 20.
We got a quote from Allen Iverson about this whole situation.
Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We're talking about practice, man.
Which one of those players on the let me go down the list. Which one of them is Allen Iverson? Zach LaVine, Jabari Parker, Justin Holiday, Wendell Carter, Bobby Portis. Stop me when you find the one that's going to be the next Allen Iverson.
No,
Chris Dunn.
They're all the same.
Antonio Blakeney.
They have the same.
Shaquille Harrison.
They all did the same thing. None of them won a championship like Iverson. So they're all the same
but Iverson was an all-star, all-NBA icon.
I know he was. I know who Allen Iverson was.
Why are you comparing Shaquille Harrison to him then?
All I'm saying is, don't always side with the crazy coach.
I don't always side with the crazy coach.
The crazy coach, just because he's an authority figure, those guys are wrong a lot, and they don't know what they're doing. And sometimes it takes players.
Nobody's perfect, but for anything to work, there has to be authority.
And you know what? But Chris, also
a 20-year-old kid fresh out of college who's never won anything isn't the authority. It's the coach.
We've also had, and we've seen in life, where people have made changes in life by going against the grain and not following suit. So all I'm saying is,
what's that got to do with this?
Because maybe they thought what he was doing, and for enough players, you're talking about when a team is together and they're texting saying we should not go to practice or whatever. That's not usually a 1 or 2 guys. That means that what the guy was doing didn't fit with what they were used to being as far as in the
were
NBA.
6-22.
No, I'm talking about in the NBA.
NBA. No, Zach LaVine played for Thibodeau. I doubt this guy's coaching harder than Thibodeau. And Thibodeau got success. He gets results.
I just think you're a slave to authority. That's what you are.
Oh, please. Stop that. Because you're the one that's mad at LeBron for bucking authority.
No, I'm not.
In the NBA.
I'm not mad at LeBron.
You the one think LeBron ruined the NBA by not being a company man.
Wait till my book comes out.
Yeah,
Wait till my book comes out.
We're waiting for this book.